Welcome back to Watching the Throne on the Late Night Chat Network, episode 29. All right, welcome back, everybody. And today, joined with us is, of course, myself, Meister Stats, aka Nico, of course, JT over there. Forgot to change it to Sir JT, and and you got Christina here, a Frey girl down below, who's actually going to be playing the Meister Stats of this episode and guiding us through scene by scene, essentially, for this episode, because this is the first of two episode block that Christina actually originally requested when I asked her to come on the show. So welcome back, Christina. This is gonna
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, this is a great episode. Great episode. Love it.
So this is of course AT. I should mention that this is his first time ever watching the show. So before we hand it over to Christina, as we normally do at the start of these episodes, we talk about what our overall thoughts were of the episode. So I did want to give it over to JT for this, because I gotta say, when this episode originally aired, this was one of the biggest shock episodes I think ever of like any television I have ever watched. The surprise that occurred from fans watching this show at this time, and the conversations that followed, were crazy. So take it away. What were your thoughts on this episode? What did you like? Were you surprised that they let the final moments of this episode?
I'm not liking these fucking writers or whoever these people are, man. Screw them.
You were warned. You were warned. They don't care about your feelings. These people, any of these characters that
Yeah, we did
that you
we
love.
did tell you don't get attached.
Like, what the fuck's wrong with these people, man?
I
Where
should.
are these people living?
Hold on. I should mention discussing the reigns of Castamere, of course. Game of Thrones season 3, episode 9. For anybody who hasn't already figured it out at this point. But yeah, go ahead. What'd you think? What are your overall thoughts about this? You hate on the writers?
Yeah, they don't like when Leslie had put that comment there and said that they don't give a fuck about anybody's feelings. You know, they don't. But I don't even know where to go with it, man. It was complete shock to me. Right? I thought, what kind of barbarians do this? What kind of fucking people are like seriously, man? Like, really, dude. I this it's like all the nice people are gone, man. Fuck that. I don't even want to watch it anymore, man. I want to see the next one. That's the thing.
Yeah, so you were genuinely shocked. I'm taking it, obviously, right? Like this,
for sure.
Yeah. Like for me, this was an even bigger shock. Like I thought I was never gonna feel as shocked again after they killed Ned in season 1, but like, yeah, this still stands to be like one of the best. Like even the way it ended the episode, where it just goes black. Like everyone,
silent.
Yeah, silent. You're just watching the episode, like, what the fuck just happened, right? Like, I remember the next day, like everyone was shocked at work, like talking about this show. Like it was this episode. It was just like jaw on the floor. I don't think I've ever been that shocked at an end of an episode. Like, and there's been a lot of great television with a lot of like cliffhanger type moments, even shit where they do it. Thank God they had an episode following this, and this wasn't the season finale, because I would have been even more pissed off. You know what I mean? But like, even so, but that's why I think they got people. Like they pick the most inopportune and unexpected moments to do these things sometimes on this show, where it's just like, really?
Yeah, you're expecting the season to end on a cliffhanger, and a lot of they do, but like like they always throw in these like situations that, yeah, like you said, throw you off and you're not expecting it because it's not typical TV, right? So, I mean, I guess people who read the books would have known this was coming, but like for the majority of the viewers who watched the show and not read the books, like this was like because it just kept coming. Like it was just like one after another. It was like, "Oh my god, like what is happening?" You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't expect all that.
Well, that's why I wanted to get your reaction first, because like for like us, like and longtime fans of the show, this was a huge moment, right? And that's why Christina, this is one of the episodes she originally requested, because like I think all Game of Thrones fans, if you throw it out there, they all have their favorites, but this is definitely like the top, like, you know what I mean, 3, if anything. And I think anybody, just for how important, like crazy of an episode it was, and like the first time it aired, right? Like I remember it still. Like it was just like I was just like, how could they fucking do that? And you didn't
Yeah,
see it coming, right? Like
this I know in this episode is, I mean, like it's not even called what everybody calls it.
right.
Like we like the episode is called The Reigns of Castamere, but it everybody refers to this episode as the Red Wedding episode. Like it's not even
Yeah,
titled properly.
when you asked me about it, I'm like, oh, the Red Wedding episode, of course, right?
Mhm.
And then like when I looked it up, I was like, I had to look up which episode it was, because
Yeah.
I don't see his name anywhere. You're right. I didn't even realize that.
Neither did I until this. Like
I think this is what they coined it, like the phrase of this scene, essentially, like what had happened, right? Hence the red wedding, like everyone
Wasn't
gets.
that where he's from, Frey, anyways, or whatever? There's there castle
who?
or whatever it's called, Cast, like Castamere or Castle, like up where there's where they live.
Oh, Casterly is the Lannister.
No, but where's Frey from there? Lord
The
Frey.
twins.
Yeah, that's where they're from.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Then why the fuck did they name it? I know they mentioned Castamere.
Oh, it's the
Yeah,
last.
so yeah, remember the last episode when Cersei was explaining to Marjorie like about them playing the Reigns of Castamere? It's a song that's played in court all the time and it's kind of synonymous with the Lannisters. So, you know, they play it at different tempos and it kind of sets the scene for whatever's going to go down. And Cersei, you know, she goes on to tell Marjorie the story behind the Rain family and what the Lannisters did to them.
Yeah,
'Cause they
yeah, it's kind of like a revenge kind of like story, essentially. And if you see the last scene in this episode, they say the Lannisters send their regards, right? So like you kind of learn at the end of the episode that they played a part in what essentially occurred here, right? And you'll get in more into that in the next episode. But yeah, that's kind of why they called it that. And that's what I liked as well, Christina, is that like that's why they called it that, right? Because they did set all that kind of up in the previous episode, and then like you said, it kind of gets played here when they shut the doors in that
Well,
scene.
it's kind of like a court setting, a kind of way that they're, kind of going up there and talking to the person on the chair, like it was like a weird setting, right? So who knows?
But yeah, Christina, that being said, if you want to take it away, if you want to lead us into the
Sure.
episode here with the scenes, we can get into it, because yeah, that is of course the last kind of series of events at the end of this episode. There's still some other good stuff in this one, but yeah, that's hands down it's one of the most shocking moments I think in TV ever for me. Like I there's been like a lot of like stuff in, especially in the HBO drama era of television, I would say, like, but
Yeah,
this takes the cake. This is still
for sure. For
watching.
sure.
I was like, oh man, coming. So,
Well,
So
it was
oh,
kind of quiet. It was kind of quiet, and then it just got like crazy, and I was just like, "What the fuck's wrong with these people, man?" Like, really, I was calm, I was relaxed, it was easy to take the notes. I mean, there was a lot, but and then all of a sudden, it was just like put the pen down for like 10 minutes and just watch what happened, and just be like, "What the fuck's going on here?" I mean, it was kind of funny and all that, but let's get it. Yeah, go take it away, Christina. I don't know. Just
okay.
ask me about it.
So
And you like getting, and then you guys got a message from me earlier saying, "What the fuck is going on?" When I first
I
turned.
told you we're gonna need time for this one, but anyways. So the episode opens with I guess a pan of the map of Westeros, and there's pieces of like armies, like little figurines of the different houses and their armies and where they are. and it widens out and you realize you're in Rob's camp. So he's standing looking at this map, and he's with his mom, Catelyn Stark, and he's got himself positioned. So looks like he's positioned to take Casterly Rock, or the Starks are anyways, and he kind of asks his mom, um, what does she think of this plan? And they kind of get into a little discussion there, you know, trying to figure out, or he's trying to understand, like, ask her permission, and is this look okay to you, as like a move? And she's kind of concerned because she's like, well, if we can't beat them and Casterly Rock, then we're done. And we're surrounded. Do we have the men? Can we do this? She looks very concerned. But anyways, at the end of it, she's like, you know what? Show them, meaning the Lannisters, like, how it feels to lose what they love. Because Rob starts bringing up, like, well, if we're gonna die, we'll die like Dad, or worse. So it's kind of like an easy, gentle in to the
It's like
episode.
it's to slow bend you over before they fuck you in the end, right?
Looks like it.
Yeah, because they do definitely foreshadow the fact, like, how badly they need Lord Frey's help in this moment, and it's kind of been discussed previous to this as well. And obviously he didn't do right by him because he went back on his vow to marry one of his daughters, which has been kind of hanging in the air, and we've kind of known he's been upset about it, but it hasn't really, like, again, like, it doesn't play into that fact. It's just kind of discussed, it seems like, between the Starks, like, oh yeah, I guess we shouldn't have done that, right? It's like that. They kind of just are very dismissive of it, and then, like, and then again too, like, the part I liked about this scene was that the how he kind of went out of his way to mention how he failed to listen to his mother, like,
Yeah.
numerous times, and and again, that's something that's mentioned later on as well. He's been very brash and kind of, like, full of himself a bit.
And emotional. I think all of his decisions have been emotional as opposed to, like, logical, and it shows his age. Like, he's very young. He's 17 or 18 or something, so he's very young, and being
He's
thrust
hormone
into this.
enriched.
Sorry?
He's hormone enriched, man. At that time, man, that's the worst age to be at, that making
Mhm.
rational decisions. I think, no,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
but yeah,
Yeah. So anyway, it was impactful, like, subtly impactful, because you see the little figure, like the Stark figures of the wolves, and then you see, like, the lions surrounding them, and it just kind of shows, like, how desperate they are. I don't know. It's subtle to me, like, in their desperation. So, but I found it was good opening. Kind of get you into, like, what their next move is, or you know what
Yeah,
their plan is.
yeah,
The next scene is, again, we're still with Rob and the Stark army. They have finally made it to the twins. They are where the Freys are, Walder Frey and his family, and so they finally made it, and they meet with Lord Walder Frey in his court, and to
I
make a
like
formal apology.
kind
oh, this
of.
actor's excellent. He's been in a lot of things I really enjoy. The guy who plays Walder Frey. He's
Yeah.
in a lot of shows that I really like. Yeah, he's worked with Guillermo del Toro a lot. He was on that Strange show, and he also, I think, he played Geppetto in the new Pinocchio movie that he worked on, the animated one. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry to jump in there. I just really like the
No.
actor who plays him. I think he's a British actor. This guy, like, I've seen him in a lot of things. This guy that plays Walter Frey. So again, going back and watching this upon this rewatch has been fun because there's some actors who I didn't, like, really know at the time. I think of Game of Thrones that I've seen in many things since then. And no, going back and watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's this guy, right? Like, I forgot he was on this show, right? So it's cool to see him pop up here.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was also Filch in Harry Potter. the janitor.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
No, he's just he plays this character very well. I mean, what? How else could you? I mean, this
Mhm.
I don't know. I kind of love and hate him at the same time right now.
Mhm.
I was
Yeah,
loving at
this
the beginning of this part. This was great.
yeah, so yeah, he has like Rob and everybody. They're there, and Rob is about to make his grand apology. Um, I guess for not following through on his vow, but also being late and all of that. Anyways, Walder, he says to Rob, like, "I'm not the one you need to apologize to," and kind of claps his hands and brings out his like lines of women, his daughters, granddaughters, and this scene was probably the best quoted scene of the entire episode because he starts, naming, yeah, he starts naming them off, like, and he does pretty well until he, gets to the second half of the room and there's a bunch of twins and he's like, Sarah and Sarah, the twins, you could have had one, you could have had them both for all I care. Um, And then he gets to, like, I guess one of the last girls, and, he's like, "We're the Waldina," and it's very awkward because she's kind of, like, trying to jump in and correct him. Anyways, and then she finally does, and she's like, "I'm Mary," and he's like, "Fine."
Yeah, fine. Because they all have like these W names. Oh yeah, this is yeah, Walda. This is whatever. I just love that. He's like, fine, whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was
Finally,
great. Um, yeah, and anyway, so that was that, and then Rob, he's obviously doing his best to sincerely apologize to them and say it wasn't them. It's the classic, like, "It's not you, it's me." You know?
Yeah.
Um, but then, of course, Walder, he doesn't skip a beat, and once the girls are apologized to, he sends them to the back and, he calls upon Talisa to come forward, and he's, looking her up and down and tells her to come closer. His eyes aren't as good as they used
All
to be, that
nice. Yeah.
creepy old man, you know,
Let me look
statement.
down.
girl.
Yeah. Yeah, and then after a slurry of lewd comments,
Yeah.
talks about her body and
Man.
yeah, my favorite was when he's like, "Oh, your king says he betrayed me for love. I say he betrayed me for nice tits and a tight fit." And then
Yeah.
Rob goes up to, like, move forward, and Catelyn, like, puts
Yeah.
her hand back and holds him back, and then Walder was like, "I can respect that," and then talks about his own youth, and anyways.
I liked how honest he was there. He's like, oh, it's better looking than this lot, that's for sure. You're just like,
Don't kids, hey, bro. That's the best, man.
like I can always see what's going on beneath the dress. Been at this a long time.
It's a long time.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's definitely a character, that's for sure. But, yeah, at the end of the scene, he says, "Welcome, set up your camp, we'll have a wedding, the
right.
wine will flow red and the music will play loud," you know, here we go, the wedding is on, so next scene.
Yeah, I like this one just because of how funny it was, right? Like, and again, I got to give it up to them for not showing his hand in this scene. Like, he's clearly pissed, but it looks like he's over it. And then obviously this whole time he's got other like plans for them in the back of his head because this is already being planned for at this point in time, even, right? So like I think it's interesting that they I like again just how unexpected it was based off of this, because you're like, okay, clearly he's pissed off and they did wrong by him, but he's kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever, let's get this show on the road. Like, you guys are here, I'll open up my doors to you, whatever, let's just kind of do this. But again, then to have done that to him and then expect him just to kind of go all in for their war efforts, is a lot that they're asking. Like, it's not like it's nothing, right? And like, and then now, like, kind of thinking on it, well, I mean, why wouldn't he get like, go in with the Lannisters if he felt like, you know what I mean? This is like after all this, and align yourself with a more powerful
A family, yeah, and I think that's what Catelyn was trying to tell him was, like, he's not gonna forgive.
Right.
He's not gonna forgive this so easily. Don't be fooled. Yeah, of course, he's gonna get a wedding out of it to a prominent house because now Edmure is the king or not the king, the, like, lord of the Tully house, which, is great, at least he's a lord, but he's not a king, right? Like, and
Right.
I think that just shows, like, Rob's age and the difference in maturity and the difference in,
Right.
planning and making sure you're doing the right thing. Yeah, it's complicated.
Well, that's, I mean,
But
the bum deal. He got a out of the like this. So like I understand. Like I don't necessarily blame him for what occurred. It's the deception that's the fucked up part. Like he could have been like, "I'm pissed. We're going to war against you," and then it could have just ended there. But it's the fact that they lured them in just to cut their throat in the way
well,
that they
even
did. Right.
yeah,
Like,
even like I forgot to mention this, but like they even made a point of showing in the scene them passing around like the symbolic bread and salt. Like it's very like I guess in the time it was very traditional to when you're offering somebody home or when you're offering your home to them, it's like this is what you do and it's kind of like a law that says that this is like the peace treaty. So he's going out of his way, like Walder Frey is going out of his way to make Rob and the Starks and all the bannermen like feel comfortable. So I think that's why the end of this episode is so much more of a shock because you're like, oh my, like what? Like I know you're pissed, but oh my god. So
yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. It's yeah. Again, just,
Jay, what do
yeah.
you think, Jay?
To let your guard down, such a thing, it's they're
Hmm.
just bracing him to let their guard down, like thinking, oh, okay, everything's gonna be fine. I mean, what's his face looked like he was having a great old time, man. Once he got to see who he would get to marry, right?
Oh yeah, Edmure. Yeah.
Like fuck, he
That's
got
coming
lucky.
back. Yeah, so next scene, now we're back across the narrow sea, to Daenerys, and she's discussing with her council, how to proceed with, sacking the city of Yunkai. And Dario, her newly appointed manservant, well, I shouldn't say that because she doesn't believe in slavery, but her man thing, he's, flirtatiously telling her, "Oh, this is the way to go in. We go in, we infiltrate through this back entrance and, we can take out all of the guards, go to the front, open the door, have the Unsullied army walk right through the front, and then the city is yours." And I mean, it sounds pretty straightforward, but of course, Jorah Mormont, he's there and he has a little bit of hesitation for multiple reasons. I mean, he's a little jealous of this
Yeah.
potential romance between Dario, and he's trying to assert his, like, dominance as the Khaleesi's, like, number 1 right-hand man. So he kinda questions Dario's motives, and Dario basically says, "In my experience, only dishonest people think that way," which it's a little bit of a foreshadowing, backshadowing kind of a thing given, Jorah's not yet revealed
All right.
plot or purpose.
Yeah. He has a
But
sister. He
He's
sorry?
was
gonna fall in love with her because he looks like he's got a boner for every time he looks at her. So,
well, that's always part of the
but then
Yeah,
he looked at Dario weird too, right? So looked like he
yeah.
wanted to not have sex with him, but looked like he wanted to kick his ass because Dario looked like
He's
looked like
moving in on his territory.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think that's always part of his character is that he struggles with his love
He's
for
insecure.
Daenerys as well as like his belief in her like being a leader essentially and like backing her like right.
yeah,
I think that yeah, it's hard not to cross that line clearly and
yeah,
expressed as much to
yeah.
her and almost lost her support essentially before, like kind of like she was almost ready to like not to have him involved essentially, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, so she Daenerys obviously sees that she's getting nowhere between Dario and Mormont. So I mean Jorah asks Grey Worm, who is the commander of the Unsullied, what do you think? Do you trust him? And then Daenerys repeats it in
Her language.
yes.
there,
And he says he does. He trusts him. So that was good enough for her to be like, all right, go ahead. Like you guys go sack the city or start invading and then whatever. So off they go. Sir Barristan, who's also there, tells Jorah that he would love to come and be a part of this, but Jorah is like, no, like you're the queen's guard, you need to stay with her at all time. And he kind of looks a little upset about this, but I mean, that's his duty, it's his job. So he stays behind and off they go
Yep.
to Yunkai.
Yep.
Dun, dun, dun.
Any other thoughts? Any
no, not in this one. Pretty
just
simple.
kind of like a setup episode or a setup scene, yeah.
Well, the way he said it too, to what's his face, to keep guard, stay back, to watch her, right? He's kind of like, and if anything is to happen, the way he said it is like, just kill anybody afterwards if you have to or whatever. Or, I don't know. I just feel like it's that the way it was, it ended that scene. It kind of said it's going to set something up. I'm not sure, but let's see.
Yeah. So next scene, we are with Sam and Gilly, who are walking in the forest.
Are they going to kill him?
And Sam is telling Gilly just again, just some more information on the wall, the different castles and I guess structures that are along the wall. And he talks about the night fort and it's now closed or it's now no longer in use, but it was just talking about all the intricacies and how big it was. It was like bigger than Castle Black, and it was like used in the time of Jaehaerys Targaryen's reign. But it's closed now, and he's just talking. He's just giving a lot of history and knowledge, like just telling Gilly more history about the wall. And she kind of looks at him and is like, "How do you know all this?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm from a big old book." And she calls him a wizard, and he seems like really like, yes, I am. So I think, I don't know. Again, it's a cute scene, but in the end, they make it to the wall. So now they're there. They're at the wall. They've made it to the wall. So their journey seems to like be almost. This part of their journey seems to almost be done.
Yeah, and Gilly says that thing about about she said that that she would be dead if she seen the wall. She wouldn't have survived to actually see the wall, right? There's that.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Her father or whatever. She said,
yes.
If
No.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. No wildling has ever set eyes on the wall, or else they'd be dead or something like that.
Well, here I am. I'm alive, right? I kind of liked that how she was like trying to be optimistic, even though like they've had such a rough go of things, right? Like she's literally carrying a. I mean, that's actually one of the stretch. That's one of the things that's kind of not believable about this is that this baby's been surviving with them throughout the.
I haven't even heard it cry, bro.
Can I tell you that baby needs a hat? Holy moly! She's like holding it up. It's like they're freezing. I'm like, this baby needs a hat. Like,
dude, that baby doesn't cry.
Right.
I've never heard it say.
Well, when you're frozen solid, would you cry too? I wouldn't want to expend my energy like crying.
I think you have to. That's a bit of a stretch. Is the fact that the baby would have survived this ordeal, quite frankly.
And not just a baby, a newborn, like
that's what I mean.
Fresh out of the womb. Like literally, she delivered that thing and like ran.
Yeah. Yeah. He like stole her. He like ran off with her in the middle of the night after it was just born. Yeah. No, I know. That's what I mean.
The umbilical cord was still attached, bro.
Like it's not gonna get the nutrition like right now. Like I don't even know it's eating. Is she breastfeeding it? Like, I don't.
I'm assuming she is, otherwise it'd be dead. But like, I mean, she needs to eat
Don't they do
for.
that up until you're 13 on this show?
Did you breastfeed until you were 13?
You know,
Well,
there's that scene with
Okay, well, like he's the one freakazoid. Like, please.
is he coming back? No.
yeah. That's not the last you've seen of them. You'll see them again. Yeah, well, that's where what's his name's going. Baelish is
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But
Littlefinger.
I forgot that's where it's from.
which we don't see him for some time. I don't even think we see him in the next episode because I've already taken notes on the next episode. I don't even think we see him that episode. And you notice, right, that Christina, how I said we don't see Tyrion at all in this episode at all.
Yeah, because that other
Yeah,
shit.
no, you're right. It's so true. Yeah, because we don't go to King's Landing. That's the thing. Like, we're not anywhere south of the twins. Like, it doesn't exist. Like, it's just not part of this episode.
Which is fine for them to have to build all this up and then shift focus for the finale.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't mind it, but it just kind of stuck out to me when I was taking the notes for this one. I was just like, I was looking over the notes. I'm like, no Tyrion scenes. I'm like, that's weird, right?
Oh, it's a sad day in Nico's world.
It wasn't the proper episode, I don't think, for him.
No, there was nothing he would have, like, there's nothing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
Damn, and your knowledge of all your big books, bud.
Which is also strange that they put this in here because, like, this is it. Like, this is the only scene that they're in this entire episode. It's just kind of like, what, they're just.
They need to get paid, man. Fuck, leave them alone.
Yeah, I don't. Whatever. So, anyways, that's that. Baby needs a hat. Next scene.
Next scene. This is where it jumps around a lot, eh?
Yeah. So the next scene, we're with Arya and the Hound, and because they're on their way to the twins. The Hound is trying to get Arya to her family, and they know they're going to the twins for the wedding. So, but they come across this farmer with a broken down cart. So the Hound goes over and pretends to help this poor man fix his cart, and be friendly, but ends up knocking him out and was going to kill him. But Arya kind of steps in and interjects and says, "Can you please not? Like, please." And anyways, they have this, their lovely friendly banter that goes back and forth about killing and the ethics and morality and all of this. Anyways, the Hound agrees to, like, not kill this person, but says to her, like, your kindness is going to come and bite you in the butt one day. Anyways, the old man, or the farmer, he seems to start to stir and get up, and Arya takes a big piece of wood and smacks him over the head and knocks him out again. So it's like, I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what their plan is, but that was like that was the scene.
What a nice family, it seems like. And then she just didn't want to kill him, and she's ended up going to get killed. See?
Oh yeah, sorry. I should mention that this farmer actually mentions, like, very quietly or subtly in the beginning, that he was actually on the way to the wedding to provide salted pig for the wedding. So that's anyways, so
no, it's
big heads.
But then also, like, I liked Arya is kind of like, I like that she's got like a moral code in a sense, but at the same time isn't afraid to get her hands dirty, which she kind of proves time and time again, like even knocking out the guy at the scene, like you mentioned, because like she just likes to go about things in the right way, right? Which I can respect, because like, again, like, the characters that have like some sort of morality, like, in this show is not very, like, it's not in a lot of the characters. I feel like they're ready to backstab,
This stuff, that's why, bro.
I think that
a little bit of heart.
Well, I think that's why the Stark family gets a Stark trait, and I think that's why the Starks are just such a fan favorite family, because they're exactly. They're loyal. They're obedient. They're try to do the right thing. But they're not afraid to
fight
if they have to. Exactly. Good analogy, Jay.
I mean, they're pretty bad at biting. I'll tell you that much.
I'm starting to notice too, upon this rewatch, that as much as I feel like, and there's more people that come, like a lot of people get screwed over in this show that don't necessarily deserve it. A lot of the good people do end up landing on their feet, I think, by the end as well. Like, so like I'm kind of like happy about that because Jay, not everyone gets fucked over. It's spoilers. There is some people that make it through to the end, maybe not unscathed, but they are okay, let's say, right? But like you know, going into this, I thought like, and I'm starting to think of some of the paths some of these characters take, and there is more people like, you know, that have like that go the Rob's fate route, I would say, but there is enough good people still to go around. Where I'm like going into this, I'm like, this show is full of fucking horrible people, which it is, but there is still a lot of nice people too, like on this show, or at least people that mean well. Like even like, you know, like the Davoses and like, you know what I mean? Like we're starting to see other good people that it seems, but you know, again, they're all not afraid to get their hands dirty. A lot of these people, right? So,
And you know what's funny is that the horrible people are kind of lovable too at the same time. It's kind of weird.
but
Maybe
they're
because
great
they're funny.
characters. They're intriguing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's why.
And they make you hate them after like halfway through the, like I'm at season 3 and I'm starting to hate people again. Like what the fuck, man? I was doing all right for a while there, man. Like,
No,
seriously,
it'll
guys,
come and go. It's gonna come and go. It's gonna be the
crying and shit.
Yeah.
So
I also like the quote, "Dead rats don't squeak" by the Hound in this scene, because
Oh.
we're talking about like snitching. Essentially, that's why he was gonna kill the guy, because he's like, well, if I kill him, he can't rat me out, right? That I did this, right? I liked that quote. I was like, that's pretty good, actually. I like that.
she can kill it. She knows somebody that'll kill him how many times over or whatever. Like with just a, you know, the just her mouth. I don't know what the fuck she said. Not or just her
Yeah,
mouth.
she was talking about that Jakar
Yeah,
son that she met in
yeah, the guy that told her just to
Aaron
say
Hall.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of cool. She brought that back up, but I didn't think I was going to catch that until I heard it. Right. So,
yeah.
Surprise.
So yeah, there's that. And then we go back, next scene, we go back to somewhere in the north with Bran and his traveling band of misfits. And they stumble upon the windmill that Egret had in the last episode thought was a palace.
Oh, I didn't make that connection. Okay. Okay. Nice. I didn't make
Yeah.
that
So
about. That's my first win, but she didn't know what it was. Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, so they're now there, so which means that they are close to John. They don't realize it, but they're close to him, closer than they think. But after a few, Bran is giving them again a little bit of history on the land and who owns the windmill and who owns the land and who protects it and all of that. There's a what's her name? Mira. Mira.
Oh, the other one.
She mentions that there's a storm coming in, so they decide to take refuge in the windmill and kind of wait out the storm. So until it passes. So that's how that scene ends. Just another filler episode, I think, just set up. But also kind of at the same time, so nearby, they pan over to John and the wildlings, and they've arrived near a small farm and owned by a man, and he looks to have like a field of horses, about 8 horses. And John explains to
And do 8 horses, say?
well, I mean, if it's his job to just
company.
basically, probably. But yeah, John explains to the wildlings that, this man is harmless. He is actually there because he breeds horses for the watch. So, like take his horses, because the wildlings are talking about, Oral basically says, oh, maybe this man has gold. Maybe he has, lots of riches. Like we should kill him and take all of his stuff. And John is trying to plead with them, like, no, don't go after him. Take the horses. But, if the Night's Watch hears about this, like they'll only send a few men to look for horse snatchers, but they'll send a lot more if there's a murder that's taken place.
Right.
But of course, they're wildlings. They're going to do what they're going to do. So they decide to go ahead. They hop over the little barrier wall that they're hiding behind and they start charging toward the farm, which I don't know, to me sounds like it would be noisy, but I guess not. So John has to like take out his sword and he clanks it up against like a rock to kind of alert the horses or to start making some noise. And then the horses pick up on it and then they start making a scene. The gentleman comes out, sees what's going on, hops on a horse, and goes to take off. Egret, she pulls out her bow and arrow and shoots at the man, but John distracts her and she misses and she's irritated with that. So
yeah, I don't know. This whole relationship between John and the wildlings is kind of like getting a little bit redundant at this point. I feel like with him having to continue to like try to keep up this relationship with them by trying to pretend like he's part of their crew, and meanwhile he's not, like he's trying to like figure a way out of this situation. I'm glad it kind of, like, I think past this season it changes up, I think, again, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
So
definitely.
and I'm kind of thankful for that, because I've kind of had my fill, I feel like, at this point of this storyline, because there's only so much you can do with him in the situation, because he clearly his heart isn't like with those guys, and like he keeps having to, we keep putting the character in these situations where he has to like prove his loyalty, but yet at the same time try to like prevent them from doing any like actual harm to like the people of the realm, essentially, right? So like it's kind of, there's only so much I think you can do, and I think we've reached that point with this whole scenario at this point. So where I'm just like, I'm kind of over this whole wildlings thing with John, like in this, in the, like the way it
In
is.
this context, it's kind of like, okay. Jay, what do you think?
I don't know where it's going. I mean, I feel like he's gonna get it. He's gonna. I don't know what's gonna happen, to be honest with you. I'd still like to see what's going on with him and the redhead, but I don't know where that's going. But Egret or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know where this whole story is going. Like if he's ever gonna get back to where he's got to go, or what, right?
Okay. Yep.
I'd like to, it just.
Only time will tell.
No, I know. That's what I mean. Only time will tell. And if I listen to other people, then fuck. I hate to show you more.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thoughts at the end. Yeah, the end of the at the end of this whole recording.
someone tried to tell JT that Jon Snow dies in this show, so he was trying to provide huge spoilers to JT and fuck with his head, because he's like, he knew how early he was in watching it. So I guess time will tell, as Jay said. You'll see what ends up happening with that one.
Like we said, don't get too attached.
I don't like you guys now. Stop that shit. Like, come on, man. Like you're playing
Just a few more seasons, Jay. It's okay. Not a big deal. Just a couple more episodes,
This is like an old version. Like certain parts are like old version of the Notebook.
Don't compare this to the Notebook. Get the fuck out of here.
Those got black hair, like fucking. He's a different Ryan Gosling. You know what I mean?
No dragons in the Notebook, okay? Get the fuck out of here. All right, go ahead, Christina.
Okay, so next scene, we're back with Arya and the Hound, and they have finally made it to the twins. They are just up a valley, across the river. They are so close, and it pans, and Arya is like standing there. She's staring at at the scene. I think she's in disbelief. The look on her face is kind of like a little bit of shock, a little bit of disbelief, a little bit of this is too good to be true. She's kind of in her feelings and
doubt.
yeah, all of it. Like it's just too much. So the Hound, he notices this and kind of says to her, like, they're not going anywhere. Like, relax, they're right there. Relax. Anyways, and he's taunting her and teasing her about it. If she's he can tell that she's afraid of being so close and having them taken away. And anyways, so she retorts and says, well, I know what you're afraid of. like fire, and kind of then that brings in that storyline, because we've seen in the past that the Hound, he doesn't react well around fire, but we don't really understand why or don't really know why, or but anyway, she says she calls it out, like when he was fighting Barrack, was it Barrack Dondarrion?
Yeah.
And he lit his sword on fire earlier in the season, and anyway, so she starts poking fun at him and saying, "I know how you got that. And your brother pressed your face to the fire like a nice juicy mutton chop." And anyways, they're just love-hate relationship, going back and forth. But then he kind of takes it to the next level and he says, "Well, you haven't been this close to family since Sir Ilan Payne snipped your daddy's neck." And that kind of like that was it. She's like, "No, I'm not engaging in this." So she kind of walks away and turns to look at the scene again, because she's realizing she's that close. Um Oh, yeah, sorry, but she does promise before she turns to walk away that one day she's going to put a sword through the back of his skull and through his eye, out and out the back of his skull. So, you know,
You never
lovely
know.
friendship we have brewing here.
This show is such a fucking cock tease of moments. Like poor Arya, because again, like he's like, "Oh yeah, it's right over there. Don't fucking worry." But then, of course, they get here at the end of the episode, and her brother, everyone's dead. And like again, the shit that she's got to bear witness to already at this point in the show is fucking insane. I just feel so bad for her. And like you get that, and then you're about to get in one of the next moments here. How fucking close he is to John, and like reuniting with him, like his brother there. Like MJ, there's a bit of a spoiler, but I gotta say it. This is not the last time in the show where people fucking barely like almost cross paths on their journeys, where the guy's like literally like around the corner, and if they turned down that way, they would have ran into this person that they've been searching for, or that like or they could have helped them along their journey, family and friends, whatever. But there's so many fucking times that happens on the show. It's such a cock tease. That's what I was trying to. That's what I meant by that. Is just like they keep trying to play with your fucking emotions that way. They're like, they're gonna reunite. And this is like, nope. Like something happens. One person goes one way, the other person goes the other way, right? Like I hate how they keep pulling the fucking rug up from underneath you. And I got reminded by that in this episode. I'm just like, oh look, right up there. John's right down there. They're gonna reunite. Nope. John's off. Off on a fucking horse, right?
Yep.
So it's not the last time you're gonna see that, Jay. I'm sorry to say.
I mean, you just can't pick up a fucking cell phone and repeat or something and just say, text them and say, "Okay, I'm just around the corner, guys. Hold on."
Yeah.
No.
No, but I'm right, Christina? It happens a lot, like where they're
It
just
does, and but I think especially for this episode, because like they set it up in a way that you know how Rob was feeling very comfortable, like in the beginning, like you're kind of like, okay, everything's gonna be okay, everything's gonna be good. So not only do the characters get the rug pulled from under their feet, so does the viewers do. It's just kind of like you're on this emotional roller coaster with these characters, and it just adds this is such a well done show, and this episode I think is the start
yeah,
of those feelings. So
which is
yeah,
season, I think, is where it gets really, really fucking good moving forward because they kind of learn these tricks, I think, in this season.
yeah, they realize that, oh, the audience really likes this stuff. They respond really well, because I think this season was what the season, and it might have even been this episode, where I think they must have skyrocketed in fandom, like, because I don't know, like, I don't know a lot of people that talk so much. I started watching it in season 3, right? Because people started talking about it. I
Yeah,
heard about it, but it wasn't the show was into its 3rd season, and I know I watched this episode live, like, when it aired, because I was stunned, but I was relatively new to the Game of Thrones world, and it wasn't until this season where I really started to
yeah,
hear about it, and I decided to watch it.
yeah.
But I think from this episode on, like, it's just like, everybody was talking about it. Everybody was all over the news. It was all over social media. It was like,
Yeah, because if you weren't watching it as of this episode, you were going to watch it after
Yes.
this episode.
Yes.
It's interesting whatsoever. Like, if you heard about this, go back and watch it. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, no, it's not. And I just hate how they play like with your emotions like that, because like there's so many moments where it's just like for the characters and the viewer where they just like that's basically what this scene is. He's like, you're right over there. We're gonna make it there later today. Don't worry fucking about it. You're like, you act like something's gonna happen. And they get there and everything's in flames. Everyone's slaughtered. like he's like, don't worry. Arya's like, I don't know. Something's gonna happen. Like you said, the way they set it up, like the restraint and even with the foreshadowing and everything else, like that they exhibit in this episode, it's really crazy. Like they didn't show that at all. Like they guys, but not really. Like anyways.
So yeah, like Nico said, this next scene, we're back to Bran. And they're in the windmill, and there's a storm brewing outside. It's raining, it's thunderstorming, it's kind of, a little intense. Hodor's having a moment. He's panicking a little bit. But while they're all huddled inside, they're Osha and Mira are Mira's looking out the window and kind of she notices that there's a rider, and the rider happens to be the farmer, the old man, the horse breeder. And she basically mentions like, oh, there's a rider. Oh, and he's surrounded by wildlings. Anyways, and so there's like a little bit of a battle that ensues, and I think it's and then Hodor starts to go get a little more agitated as like things are happening. There's a lot of excitement. Now there's people close by, so he starts losing and he starts getting really loud, and Jojen and Mira are telling Bran to settle him down, and they don't know what to do. Anyways, it creates enough commotion that Oral, who's standing outside of the tower, hears something from inside the tower, so he's kind of looking in the tower to see if there's any activity he can see through the window. But on the inside, as Bran is trying to calm Hodor down, he ends up warging, or his eyes go into the back of his head, and he kind of transfers his like mental telepathy or mental power to Hodor and ends up calming him down enough where he like falls asleep, or I don't know what kind of a state he goes into, but he comes down and he lays down and he's quiet. And so everyone is kind of like in disbelief about this. I don't like, I guess it's never really been done before. So yeah, I mean, outside the wildlings, they've captured the old man because they've cornered him. They bring him to Tormund, and basically they tell Jon to execute this man as proof that he's one of them versus a crow or one of the Night's Watch. And he hesitates during his swing because obviously this is not what he wants to do. He knows this person this is not part of his moral code. So he kind of hesitates and misses the swing, and then anyways Ygritte ends up shooting this farmer and killing him. Oral, who obviously is against Jon Ygritte relationship, basically starts to rile up the wildlings and say he's not one of us, like get him, kill him, but Ygritte is trying to protect him, like is kind of standing up for him. It's like a whole like scene where they're kind of fighting each other, battling each other. Anyways, Jon ends up like knocking Ygritte over, running over, grabbing a horse and taking off. So now Jon's away, and of course Ygritte is looking. She's looking away, like kind of in disbelief, shock. I don't know, like anger, all the feels. But in the mill, it's kind of like it goes like this is like kind of one scene, but it kind of goes back and forth because it's in the same place. Oral is still very aware of what's happening like in the mill. So in the mill, Jojen is basically telling oh no, wait, I skipped ahead. Sorry. I skipped ahead.
Next time that we see
Brian's starting to control the wolves and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, I forgot about that piece. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, as they're like getting ready to fight, anyways, Jojen asks Bran to get into the mind of Summer, which is his dire wolf, who's out hunting with Shaggy Dog, which is Rickon's dire wolf. And try to
literally around the corner there.
they're in the same place. It's like here's the tower and here they are fighting, and it's like just look out the window, you can see.
Well, even the wolves, they weren't that far away. I mean, they were right
No,
there.
no, they were there because they were out hunting, and obviously they won't go far. Anyway, so Bran wargs into Summer, his dire wolf, and sees that it's John and kind of helps him out in this little tiff or battle that he's having with the wildlings, and ends up escaping. That's how he escapes too.
But what was it? It was just an eagle too that started attacking him.
Oh my god, yeah. Sorry. I really messed up telling this scene. See, because again, like I'm like Nico, like I'm kind of getting over this. I don't have the best notes when it comes to these scenes. Sorry.
No, because I didn't know where the eagle came from. I thought he ended up controlling all the animals at the end of the day.
So Bran does his warg thing and transports into the dire wolf,
Mhm.
and then it attacks the wildlings which gives Jon a chance to win the fight, and basically he kills Oral is his name, right?
Yeah.
And that's the whole scene where he says, telling him you were right the whole time as he kills them about him, like because he kind of was the only one that was sure that he was bullshitting them this whole time. So like he gave him some credit in his final moment there. He's just like, yeah, you were right about me. Fuck you. Like, you know.
Yeah.
And like you said, then he transports, and then it seems like he transported himself into the raven, like, or the bird,
Yes.
like
The
Oral,
eagle, yeah.
or like as Jay was just saying, because it looks like then it starts attacking him. And it seemed like in his final breath, he transported into the bird, which is pretty fucking crazy that he can do that and just like be in the bird, and then
Yeah.
starts attacking John. Yeah.
I think in the same way that the dire wolves are always with the Starks, this eagle is always kind of with Oral. Because like the first scene that you see him in, he's warged into the bird, like as he's circling like up in the north, like above the wall, north of the wall. So I think he's kind of like this eagle is always like hanging around this guy.
Maybe that's his spiritual guide.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, again with like all the brand stuff is that they never fully explain a lot of the shit with him, like, and you gotta kind of like figure it out as you go. It seems like with a lot of the brand stuff, like it seems like I understand it more upon this rewatch now, like than I did, I think, originally. But like a lot of this stuff, and there's lots more stuff to come. Like it's not very clear, like what's going on, like with his whole storyline. A lot of this shit with the war, and like that's a little bit more clear now. But like other things, other stuff, like abilities or whatever, right? Like things that go on, right? Or
Yeah,
things.
we get little pieces like from what Jojen says to him, but it's like, well, how does even Jojen know this? Like they don't really get into it. They don't really explain too much of it. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. It is what it is. Sorry,
yeah.
that was a really terrible description of the scene.
That's what we're here for. We all kind of just like, yeah, just jump in on there. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it happens. I lost my track next to Jay many times there. Last episode we did. I blame him. See, that's what we do. We blame Jay around here.
Go ahead, just blame me. But I'm pretty good at taking notes, though. I'm getting better and better, man.
I'll have to tell you about the improvement on our note taking that we just discovered the other day, Jay. I'll have to let you in on it. Makes things a lot easier. Yeah. I'll let you know after.
Tell me the other day. Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of this, Nico,
and then you tell me today.
That's right.
It's honestly though, but I think because we've seen this, like if he does what we're doing, it'll spoil it for him.
That's a good point.
Right? So I think it's like, Jay, just keep doing what you're doing.
You know what? I think it's only
sharing a screen or something or some shit or what?
I think it's only, Let's discuss it off there, but I think it's only helpful for the person that's basically guiding you through the
Yes.
episode. Yeah.
Yes.
Like it's gonna make what like when I do it and stuff easier, Jay. Like, yeah, it's you'll see. I'll explain it to you. But go ahead.
Okay. So the next scene after that one is we're back to Daenerys in Yunkai, and um Dario and Jorah and Grey Worm are about to enter the city. So Dario, because he's part of the Second Sons, he's able to walk right up to the gate and walk right in. They don't even question who this person is. They don't question why he's there. No reason. But before he leaves Jorah and Grey Worm, he says, listen for a songbird. That's basically their cue to follow him into the city once everything's clear.
Mhm.
So Dario goes in, not even 10 seconds later, like 5 seconds later, they hear the bird call. So they make their way in, Jorah and Grey Worm make their way into the city through that entrance, and they find a bunch, like a handful of dead soldiers, and Dario's sitting there very coolly cleaning off his hooked sword thing, like nothing. This was easy, no problem.
Yeah.
Told you. And even Jorah even says like, oh, like, but there may be others, and Dario's like, nah, I doubt it. The Yunkish prefer to let their slaves do the fighting for them. But then of course there's a whole like bunch of they basically become surrounded and swarmed by exactly, ambushed by these Yunkai fighters, or you don't really know who they are. They don't really explain, but they're surrounded.
I like Jorah though too. When they first take out all those guys, he's like, "That's what you call a few guards." He's like, what the fuck? It's like, like there's a lot of them. Like he thinks it's just like maybe a couple of people, right? But
A handful, because they're peaceful people. Remember, like they're, Anyways, yeah. So again, it's just a lot of like literal sword swinging between the two of them. Like
yeah,
That's what he looked like at that point. And he was like, really?
yeah,
So he called a little bit of drugs.
yeah.
Like, fuck, man,
Yeah.
over him.
yeah. So, I like the scene. I mean, they're surrounded. They kind of get into a little bit of battle, like like they show a little bit of their sword technique, and they kind of seem to be fighting together. It I don't know, it kind of had some good fighting technique. I don't know, we haven't seen a lot of sword play like that.
No,
Everybody's never seen any sword like this. Look at that. Check out that sword play.
Yeah.
That's where we are right now.
Yeah, and like Dario, he always seems to have this like smug, cocky look on his face that's like, it's probably just adding like salt to the wound for Jorah. Like, I don't know. So, but I thought the scene was, at least now we can see a little bit of action, a little bit of fighting. We don't really know what's going to happen because the scene ends. They're surrounded still. So I don't know. The scene, yeah.
he's very dashing, as the women.
Yeah, with his human chipmunk appeal.
Or this is the guy they used as the stunt double for Aquaman when he was on here in the beginning, Momoa.
Are you serious? He's like so much smaller.
Thought,
Oh, you're just being funny.
because you can, if you just dyed his hair a little bit, it could look like him.
Yeah. Oh boy. So yeah. Any other thoughts? No.
For now.
So the next scene, we're now at the wedding. So Edmure is about to finally meet his wife, and I should have mentioned, sorry, when in the previous scene when Walder is discussing or naming all of his female family members, they do pan to Edmure's face, and he looks really disgusted and really like defeated, because he's like, oh god, like which one of these ones is mine?
Yeah.
you know um so now we're at the wedding, and Walder is walking his daughter up to the altar, and she's covered. Like, you can't even tell she literally has, like, a crocheted tablecloth for a veil. Like, there's no translucency in that thing at all. Like, you don't know what she looks like. You have no idea what's coming. But to everyone's surprise, yeah. Jay, doesn't it look like something like your nonna had, like, on the counter? Like, on her,
Yeah,
like, end tables?
yeah. So you can't
Yeah,
see underneath. And then I was waiting to see what the fuck was underneath, man. To be
yeah.
honest, because I was getting a little nervous there. Because there was a lot of there was a lot of sketchy looking women over there. I mean, right now, about at this point, I probably would have done all of them as long as they were of age. But
Oh my god, Jay.
you know, like, yeah, don't you feel bad for the other fucking 20? Come on, guys. Like the other poor girls. Like, look at these
There's
to
there's
nobody.
plenty of men out there that have money that are looking for some cash that Walder,
Are
I'm
these?
sure.
I don't know.
I
I think
mean, they obviously make them look greasier than what they probably are, but
looks like they're cleaning floors, man, or something. Like,
oh
good old
my
ladies.
god. But to everybody's
Good enough.
shock, the veil is revealed and she's beautiful. And Edmure is obviously like
Wow.
happy.
Yeah, it's like, where were you hiding this one? And this scene is so good because then, like, you see Walter Frey in the crowd, like, Rob looks over at him. He's like, he's like, could have. He's like, you had your chance, bud. He's like, he gives him. He's like, oh yeah, where did I find
Yeah.
that one? You know, it was just
Yeah, he's
the best glance ever. Just like, yeah, you had your chance. He was like, I hooked him up. You see, like,
yeah. In my notes I wrote ha 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 ha.
again, he's the best. He's so
Yeah.
funny in this episode. Like, until he's not, but he's like,
Frey, yeah, even Frey laughs too. Like, he fucking, they're all
Hey.
yes. I
Yeah, so
my
that yeah, so that was great. I did, and then I caught at the end of the so they go through the wedding ceremony, Edmure, like, throws the cloak over her, and they say the vows, and it's all beautiful, and they do the hand binding and all of that, which is great. But at the end of the scene, the Blackfish, he looks over at some of the Frey girls that are standing on the opposite side, and they're all smiling and like flirting-ish back at him, and he's like, oh, like, he he's like, no, 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 like, no, no, no. He quickly looks away too. So
Yeah,
that was funny. That scene was pretty funny.
yeah, I like that too.
yeah, they were all doing, and he just
Yeah,
like he hid behind Lady Stark there,
yeah, 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 because
Just-
he's also eligible. Like, he's single, right? He's a man. He's,
Yeah,
so, but no, he's obviously no. No, no, no.
that's good.
Yeah, so next scene, we're back at the windmill with Bran and his crew.
I mean,
Um,
and stuff is so cool, man. Like, I really focus on this stuff when it comes through because it just seems so cool, man. Like, out of all
yeah,
the stuff going
it
on,
has its moment, it has its purpose for sure. It's just, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So,
I like to see how long it goes for and where they go with it, right?
yeah. Um, Basically, Bran admits or says that Jojen was right when he said that he can get into Summer's mind and see through the wolf's eyes, because Bran was like, I don't know how to do this. Like, in the last scene when Jojen was explaining to him, like, you can do this. You got to go and get into her mind. Like, you can do it. And anyways, so um, he also explains that even north of the wall, wargs can't usually warg into like human minds, because it was interesting how he was able to do it. And like, animals is common for them to be able to do it in animals, or like Bran is seeing visions and dreams. That's common, but not to get into people and humans. So that's different.
That's
Like, they
away from this scene is that. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So that's mentioned, but also Bran does tell Rickon, his brother, that he did see John get away. So it kind of, gives them hope that John is around. But Osha is like, okay, so great. He's around. He's close. We need to go to Castle Black. Because again, Bran is like, maybe we need to go. Maybe I need to find the three-eyed raven. And it's just a conversation like, where are we going to go? But it is decided that they are going to split up. Because Bran is like, Jojen has been right about everything when it comes to me and my abilities. And I feel a calling or a need to find the three-eyed raven and find out more about these abilities or what my purpose is, and basically directs Osha to bring Rickon to the Umbers, which are one of the bannermen for the Starks, which we've seen. Rob actually beheaded the Umber. Oh no, that was the Karstarks. Never mind.
Yeah.
But to bring them to the Umbers, and they will take care of Rickon. In like, because there's no guarantee that Jon is safe at Castle Black if he's not there right now, and he's traveling with some wildlings. So
he's gonna technically the heir to Winterfell, essentially, as a result, if something were to happen to Bran and Jon.
And Rob, and they don't know what's happening with Rob. They don't know what's happening with anything. So yeah, it's a just assurance that they're not traveling together. Like one of them will eventually be the heir should anything happen to the other. So I think this is the most I've heard Rickon speak this entire show.
Yeah.
So he's coming into his little voice, which is kind of cute.
Well, he'll be married in a couple fucking probably episodes. I mean seasons now, because I mean he'll be of age. He's 10. He's probably allowed to get married.
Yes, marriage. But yeah, so I mean, emotional scene. Again, now the story for their story is splitting up. Now it's not so linear. This is like now it's like another side quest, another side story that we're getting into.
We gotta follow where they go.
Yeah. Yeah, the next scene is back to Yunkai. Daenerys is anxiously awaiting the news. She hasn't heard from Mormont, Dario, or Grey Worm. If, she asks Sir Barristan, like, well, how long does it take to sack a city? Like, really? It's not quick, or it's not as quick as you think it is. But as she's asked the question and whatever, they end up coming into her tent, and Dario or Jorah basically tells her like enthusiastically, the city is yours, like, or we won, like they fell. It's basically giving her all this good news, expecting her to, like, I don't know, be elated with him for providing the news, but all she cares about is where's Dario Naharis. And it kind of breaks Jorah's heart. You can see his heart breaking a little bit.
Jorah's covered in blood too when he walks in. He's just like, he's just drenched in blood.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, where is he though? And he's like, oh. Comes up around the corner and she's like, oh, he's alive, right?
Yeah, and he has their banner, and so he lays it at her feet and says the city is yours, like it's it's very like heroic. He's bending the knee, he has the banner. It's very like romantic. Anyways, Jorah is not impressed, but it is what it is. So yeah,
we're at the pretty much the last big scenes of the episode here now.
We are.
Yeah, this is like 4 pages long now. Okay.
A lot happens, but yeah, we're at the last kind of like, we're not moving from this storyline.
No. So after that, Queen Daenerys and Yunkai, now the last like 20 minutes of this episode are what everybody came to watch.
No, I wasn't expecting this shit.
Can I say it now before we? I can save it to the end of the scene if you guys want. I was gonna bust out a hot take. By the end, not a huge fan of Rob, to be honest with you. I mean, it sucks.
Oh, there's no fucking point, anyways.
No, but like, it sucks that it happened. But a lot of the comments I think that are made about him being very arrogant and everything towards the end and like after the fact as we move forward, and they're not wrong. I mean, like I know he had a lot of responsibility laid upon, rested upon, like on his shoulders as a result of everything that happened. Him being the oldest of the sons there, who's not a bastard, and everything else, and how he felt like he had to, the mother drove him and everything else. Like, kind of got behind them. He had it's not fair. I'm just saying, it's he did get pretty full of himself towards the end here, and I think the marriage didn't help. I think he got distracted, like he said, emotionally driven, as Christina mentioned it before.
He was driven by vagina.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised what ended up happening to him. That's all I want to say. And like, I'm not gonna say I hate him, because I don't. I don't hate the character, but there are certain traits in him I feel like aren't great, like that you see about his character kind of
Well,
forming.
he's a typical like 17, 18-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Like, you tell any 17-year-old boy, like, oh yeah, you have all this power, and he's gonna be like, okay, cool, but like, what is the one thing that's on your mind at 17, 18 years old? I know both of you. I know what was on your minds. So like,
I'm
okay.
not denying it, of course. But
Right? It was just like it's like an impossible situation. Like, he was set up, like, almost like it wasn't his time. It wasn't his time.
yeah, it's unfortunate what happened.
Thinking with the wrong compass.
I'm not saying it didn't upset me at the time, because you feel like the way that they were building it up to this point is Rob was essentially going to be the new Ned in a way, like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe not and maybe not as like, like in character, like how, like, you know what I mean? Like in heart and everything else, but like, because he kind of completely acted the opposite in that sense, but like, you know what I mean? Like, but maybe like as the king of the north, like, you really think that he's gonna accomplish that, even though they have a hard time of it. It's not, they've struggled this whole time, right? Like with him, like they pointed out when he was struggling, they pointed out him losing faith in his men. Like, it's not nothing new. Like, we've been seeing this coming for a long time, right? It's just we didn't expect this to happen. I don't know. He's at the end, despite everything bad that happened to him. Like, I like, obviously, I think I connect with Jon Snow more than I do him, like, quite honestly. Like, I just think that he's a better soul. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I like Jon a lot more than Rob. He's too, cocky, I feel like, at the end here. So I don't know. That's just me.
Okay.
Hot take. Did you like Rob, JT? Did you like him prior to this happening? This is what happened.
Yeah, well, I kind of liked, I didn't mind him. I didn't mind him at all. I didn't, to be honest with you. I just, okay, yeah, he's making some stupid mistakes because, like you said, he's thinking with his, hormones.
Yeah,
I'll be polite about it and say that he's thinking with hormones instead of
His
anything
penis.
else.
Just say
Yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, and it's true. At 17, 18, I was banging my fucking penis against a wall, bro, if I could. Honest to God, man. I mean, I'm not joking with you, man. But so I can understand where his mind was, where his mind is, but yeah. And then where it gets you, nowhere.
Walter Frey called him out on it though, and so did his men though, being distracted by his wife. I think, or was it his uncle? Whatever.
All of them did. His mother did. His men did. His uncle did. Walter Frey, strangers did. Like, everybody called him. But you can't tell teenagers nothing.
Yeah.
Just can't.
Anyways, just wanted to point it out. Hot take, because I feel like a lot of people liked Rob, and I didn't dislike him. I just want to make that clear. But like, he wasn't my favorite of, like, by far. Like, he's more at like the bottom of the list, like, for me, like, compared to everything. Like, Arya is better. Jon, well, he's a bastard, but still Jon's better.
I like Rob more than Sansa.
Yeah, I'll give you that, especially right now. Especially, maybe even a lot. I'll give you that. Yeah, he's better than Sansa. Yeah, I agree with you there.
I like Braun now. Fuck it. He seems like he might be alive for a while.
He's in it.
Those heads.
He's a good guy.
So we are back at the wedding. We are at the wedding reception. And the scene is laid out. There's tons of cheer, merriment. Everyone's drinking, having a great time. There's lots of laughter. Seems to be some jokes. It seems like a pretty relaxed, happy environment. I guess a different environment, different happiness that's floating around here versus the wedding we saw in the previous episode with Tyrion and Sansa.
Yeah.
But
Toxic as fuck wedding. Yeah.
yeah, like no, this is it's a way different energy, atmosphere. Like it's flirty, it's playful. Um,
Reminds me of your guys' wedding.
oh, thank you. Yeah, we had a great time. um,
Except for the
and
ending.
Oh.
um, well, same with this one. I mean, not the same, but the same.
Oh no, I mean I liked your wedding the way it ended compared to the other one. Compared to this one coming up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Um, yeah, so then Catelyn is sitting at a table with her uncle and with Roose Bolton, who seems to be an ally or seems to be there. Don't really know like what the allyship there is, but anyways, he's there, seems okay. And they're chatting, and Roose admits, they were talking about how happy. Catelyn mentions how Edmure complained about this wedding the whole time on the whole travel there, but look at how happy he is now. And it's like, of course she's beautiful and whatnot. And Catelyn asks Roose Bolton, like, oh, didn't you marry a Frey girl? And he's like, yes, like Walder offered to pay her weight in silver. So now I have a young fat wife.
Right.
And he kind of makes a joke about it. And it's like, well, anyway, so Catelyn does not look amused by that. And Az was like, well, I hope she makes you very happy. And he's like, yes, and very rich.
Yeah. She's made me very rich. Yeah.
So now we know that there's an established relationship between the Freys and the Boltons, because of the marriage. Now we understand like Roose is there, it's family, you know. So we cut to Rob and to Lisa. Yeah.
I just want to say it's interesting that Bolton, up to this point, sparsely used, has been kind of like you've been seeing him inserted into like a few different storylines. Like he's been kind of playing both sides throughout this whole ordeal, it seems like.
Yes.
So like even him showing up at the wedding here, again, if you really wanted to point out maybe red flags, like,
yeah, like why is he there? Like why?
Because we literally just saw him kind of cross paths with Jamie previous to this.
Yeah, and at Harrenhal, right? Like
he told him that he wanted his father's like to let him know. Like he's kind of like being in the middle. Like he's not picking sides, it seems like this whole time. Like he'll hobnob. He's literally right? And he can also be involved with the Lannisters. So like, but yeah, red flag for sure. Like looking at it now. Yeah.
Hindsight is 2020, like you're not really understanding in the moment. You're just, I'm sure Jay, you didn't even pick up on that like at first.
Well, I know I knew Bolton was there, but I thought like I said, I was just gonna say everybody's GPS is working on a different route, man. I think
yeah.
Everybody's taking a little detour from here to there, and so maybe they just go around each other. But how the fuck did he get from where Jamie was to where the wedding was that quick? I mean, everything seems, the time jumps seem to happen so fucking
That's
weird in this show.
In this show, you have to like later. People are like traveling like whole oceans within an episode. You'll see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they do mention like it took them weeks to get to the twins, right? Because Catelyn in the last episode was like, "Oh, Walder's not going to enjoy that we're late because it's taking longer because of the delays with the weather and stuff." So the travel is taking a long time. But of course, like in TV land, it's like it's within a scene or an episode, right? So cut over to Rob and to Lisa, and they're playfully, like flirting with each other. And Rob makes, I don't know what he says, I can't remember what he says exactly, but to Lisa um uh Rob says, he makes him a comment like, oh, maybe he made a mistake in like marrying to Lisa, like because he could be as happy as like his uncle Edmure is. And Talisa goes to like playfully smack him. He grabs her arm and says, "You're about to strike your king." And they kind of go into this like sexual tension, flirty, whatever. Anyways, she's like, "No, don't." Like he wants to like kiss her and whatever. She's like, don't tease the issue, or don't, Yeah, don't yeah.
Yeah, giving them a heads up, like you could play, watch what you're doing here in front of everybody. Just
Yeah, basically, like, don't rub it in their face, like, just let it be, right? So she even recognizes how fucked up the situation is, and she's kind of warning him, like, "Simmer it down."
Yeah.
Um, um, yeah, so then Lord Frey kind of calls attention to the crowd, and everybody sits, and he calls Rob to stand up and basically says, "It's time for the bedding ceremony. A sword needs a sheath, and a wedding needs a bedding," and kind of asks the Lord or the King in the North's permission to proceed with the bedding ceremony. And, Rob agrees. And then, very different bedding ceremony situation than what Tyrion and Sansa had.
Oh, they
Or,
got get dragged away.
yeah, right. And it's tradition. Rob explains to Talisa, like, this is just what they do. And, it's pretty barbaric, but we kind of talked about this a little bit in the last episode when
Yeah, but to your point,
If I ever get married, guys, I want to have a bedding ceremony, guys. I'm
okay,
not.
good luck finding a wife that will allow that to happen.
Well, you know what?
maybe she'll
Maybe
be a Game
somebody
of
like Game of Thrones fan. Yeah, there you go. Cheers to that, bro.
but to your point, Christina, about that, like how I know we talked about it previously, it definitely, I think, showed it more from the perspective that it is wrong in this episode, as like it did, like more so than it did in the other episode. Like as much as like Tyrion was against it because he didn't plan on having sex with her that night, he was kind of like, fuck it. In this, they definitely show it more from the perspective of like, yeah, like, this seems normal to you. And then like, even like Rob's like, yeah, it's tradition. What's the big deal? Right. Like he kind of like, but the women, like, yeah, but I like even how, like, and I'm sure you were going to get into it, how they mentioned about how Ned forbade it, like on his
Yes.
day, which I thought was, again, speaks to his character. Like he was like, yeah, Ned was like, I'll break someone's jaw if they fucking make us do that shit. Like, right. Like,
Well, I forgot he said that. Yeah.
I like,
Yeah, so Catelyn is because Roose, because Catelyn says like, "Oh, what a barbaric," or like, "What a that poor girl," like has no idea because obviously, like it's different for a woman compared to a man in this situation. Like, you know, sex is a pretty like private thing, and it's very intimate for women versus for men. It's like a power thing or it's like a show off thing. So, like you could see it on the look of their faces, like when Rosalind Frey is the bride is being carried out, she kind of looks a little concerned, whereas like Edmure is like, "Oh, ladies, like don't touch the beast because once he's unleashed, like
yeah.
you don't know, you can't go back." Oh.
I mean, but she like literally just met him. Like she literally just met this dude.
Yeah, welcome to marriages in like 400 BC. Like
It wasn't even that long ago.
There's a whole dowry thing where people would just trade up. I mean, yeah, no, I know. Like I know it's
I know it's so funny. That's the second.
It's crazy to think about it though. It's
You
like,
said that dowry thing.
yeah,
And you said that today, and I just heard it on a show yesterday that they were chasing somebody because they were trying to rip people off for the dowries. Or some countries still have that shit, right?
yeah.
Well, there's a prearranged marriage. Yes, it exists in cultures. Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
but not only that, but even like in the tradition, like some people even go as far as like the bride's parents pay for the wedding.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like
like
that's
fucking the bride shit.
but it's like that in and of itself, it's like, I mean, it's not the reason why people in North America or here like get married is because, oh, somebody's going to pay for the wedding, but even that it's still a very old school
Yes.
like tradition,
Yes.
right? That some families still uphold.
Yes.
And it's just another like more subtle
The way they do it now is they just write it down on how much money you left, right? That's the way they subtly do it now. It's not like a betting ceremony like before. They go, okay, next time we'll go to
no, it's
you know how much to put
we're talking
in.
about paying for a wedding and a bedding ceremony, Jay. Which one do you
It's all the same shit, man. After you pay for the wedding, you better get a betting ceremony, I hope.
She's talking about how the father of the bride is supposed to pay for everything, like tradition.
Well, I know that's what I mean.
It's the equivalent of a dowry, right? So it's like if you're hearing about a dowry, like instead before it was like, yes, you would have a party, but there would literally be a trunk full of gold that would be handed.
and stuff like that.
Right.
That's what I'm
But
talking about.
instead of like that, now it's like this is what you get. You get a wedding, like, because weddings are so expensive.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, so yeah, they where was their oh yeah, the bedding ceremony, and Talisa basically said when they're talking, when Rob and Talisa are talking about this, she's like, oh, there's more than one way to prove that a marriage was consummated, and kind of alludes to her growing baby bump. And
I'd remind you of that right before something happens.
of course,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know.
I
It'll make you feel even worse.
By the way, remember that baby I was telling you? Yeah. See, it's actually growing. It's not like a thing. It's there.
like 5
Jeez.
times in the belly.
Yeah. So,
Maybe it was small enough that they missed it. I don't know, man, and they can save it. I don't know. I'm starting to wait. I'm waiting till next.
nah, she pretty dead. Anyways, so once everyone, okay, so once the bedding ceremony has, they've left the court. Catelyn is looking over at her son and his wife, and she's obviously, she's just in her moment. She's taking it all in. She has a moment, and she kind of happens to see one of the Frey, I guess, courtiers or whatever, walk over to the door, the main door, the hall door, and closes it. And when the doors close, the music changes.
Yeah, I was
So it's no longer, the usual wedding merriment music. It's now the Rains of Castamere. And it's very
dour.
Yes, it's very slow. It's very dark. It's very, Catelyn's like, you can see in her face, she's trying to think, what is happening? She's looking around, looking for, the wheels are going. She's like, what's happening? She's kind of trying to assess the situation. And I have to admit that the first time seeing this, I didn't even catch on that quick.
How about you?
I was just like, what's happening? Like, okay.
Was it Miss J when you first saw that? Like when they closed the door?
Well, I knew something because I wrote that down specifically. I said the music gets soft and Stark, what's her name, has a weird look on her face, right? And she looks at Lord Bolton, right? Because she looks at him like, okay, what's the deal here? She's like, it's like something's going on in her head, and that's when she reaches for what's was it the wife, or was it the actual? Was it not? It wasn't the one that went for the betting. Obviously, it had to be one of their wives.
So it was Walder's wife, but before that, she Walder kind of calls everybody to attention, and everybody sits. And Roose walks over to Catelyn, and he kind of has this look on her face that she's not even sure of. Like, she's still trying to look around and figure out what is happening. And Walder Frey basically says, my apologies. I haven't properly, he calls Rob up and basically says, my apologies. I haven't properly given your new wife a gift. And then Catelyn, I guess she gets the EB mother's intuition, call it whatever you want. Basically, Roose has his arm out on the table and looks at her and then looks down at his arm. So she reaches over and flips open like the leathers on his arm and reveals chainmail underneath his leathers.
Yeah.
And Lord Bolton, and then she slaps him across the face, stands up, and basically calls out to Rob. And that's when how Nico so perfectly, actioned it. One of the guests or Walder's men walks over to Talisa and violently stabs her 5-6 times in the stomach.
I wrote several times in the stomach here.
Yeah. Oh, it was violent. And it's like out of nowhere. Rob is now, because he's standing in the middle because Walder had called him up. So he kind of looks back and he's in shock. But as this is happening, the musicians that are now in the gallery above have traded in their little ukuleles for crossbows.
Yeah, Archer just are shooting arrows at him from above. I know.
And he gets hit about, I don't know, 4 or 5 times with some crossbow arrows, and kinda goes down. Talisa obviously is down, she's bleeding out. Catelyn, again, goes over or tries to walk over, and she gets hit in the shoulder with an arrow, and,
Yeah, it just turns into an absolute bloodbath after that.
yeah, and then, the other bannermen, the other Stark bannermen that are in the room are getting, slaughtered and slayed, and it's just one thing's happening after another. You have no idea what's going on. You have no idea where this is coming from. It's kind of like all happening really fast. At the same time, in the courtyard, Rob's direwolf, they've locked it up in a stable.
Yeah, this
And
was
he's going a little crazy because obviously he can sense that there's something wrong, going on. But Arya and the Hound have now made it to the castle gates, and they're on the pig cart that they stole from that gentleman earlier, and they're saying that they're here for the food or to drop off food for the wedding, and they were denied entry at the gate. And Arya, obviously, she's so close she can't handle being denied, so she hops off the cart and kind of disappears. The Hound doesn't know where she went. Um, but she's trying to, I guess, find a way in. It cuts over to back on the inside. Um,
She's all the people getting killed, right?
yeah, but it goes back into let's see. Okay, so yeah, she goes into the courtyard and kind of sees like people are talking, like there's a bunch of Stark men that are sitting just on at a table outside of where Grey Wind is, which is Rob's dire wolf. And she kind of hears them talking and then sees somebody go over and kind of kill all of those men. So she's kind of like, what is happening? Like, she's in disbelief. She doesn't know what's going on. She sees that the dire wolf is in the stable and kind of goes over to let him out. Does she go over to let him out?
No, the men surround the stable with the crossbows.
Oh, she goes to walk over, but then those men show up, and there's about 4 of them with crossbows, and they aim it into the stable, and they end up
She's the
killing Grey
wolf, right?
Wind.
Yeah,
They
they shot
did.
the direwolf. That's the saddest when you see the direwolf like head poking out from underneath the stable, looking at her after it got like killed essentially or dying. So sad. That made me the saddest actually watching this. To be honest, I was just like, poor
Nobody getting stabbed in the stomach or anything like that. Nothing like that. No.
that's terrible, but I actually forgot about the direwolf getting shot. That's why I kind of
Yeah.
got me upon this rewatch because I
And
looked
he's
at all the other horrible shit that happened, but I forgot about the direwolf. It was just again in animals. I feel sorry when I see animal shit like happening like that.
yeah.
Like,
Well, and especially because he's so helpless. Like
no.
it's like he was like locked in a stable. Like he couldn't go anywhere. He couldn't do anything. Like it's kind of like, well, it's almost like it's kind of like Rob. Like he was locked in 4 walls. Like it's not like he can't do anything about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then Arya, like, she sees Grey Wind, they make an eye connection. She's still like has this look of like disbelief and shock on her face. But we had oh, I guess, yeah, so then at that point, I think she tries to continue to make it into the castle or back into the castle, and the Hound kind of like
Yeah.
grabs her,
Too,
knocks her out, and like takes her home, and
he just says it's too late, knocks
it's too
her
late.
out. Like, and again, the Hound were like,
He
questionable.
knows this shit.
He's how many people has he saved up to this point though, right?
He's
Like,
smart too.
yeah, that's what I mean. The Hound always comes through in the clutch somehow, like despite like you know what I mean, like people thinking he's a bad guy, like he helps out when it matters.
Yeah, well, he's I don't know. So he's just trying to
That's
keep
your
Arya
fire.
safe at this point. They obviously have a connection of anyway. So he knocks her out and takes her out, which again, like what Nico was saying earlier, just plays on your heartstrings. Like the poor girl, she was literally there. She was like basically breathing the same oxygen as her mother and her brother, and she never was able to see them again. Or like it's just
Yeah.
But so it cuts back to the inside now. We're back on the inside, and
So I was surprised that they were still alive when they cut back into the inside right now.
well, yeah, Rob is
Really
desperately trying to he's still alive, because the shots that they gave him, they weren't enough to kill him, but obviously he's very injured and very much like on his way to heaven. But anyways, he propels himself toward Talisa, who is now like completely gone, like she's gray. She's, still bleeding out. It's,
Poor guy.
yeah, like he's just in disbelief himself that this is happening. Um and his mom, Catelyn, who had taken refuge under some tables, also notices that Frey's wife is hiding under the head table. Which, by the way, Walter Frey is just sitting up at that head table, just sipping his wine in his silver goblet, just watching all of this massacre occur, like nothing is happening. He's just chill. He's just sitting there,
Enjoying himself.
like whatever.
Literally like this.
Yeah, yeah.
He's got a fucking smile on his face from ear to ear, and he's just loving the entertainment. Like, really? I wish they had a picture here. I don't have a picture here of him actually sitting on that. I got a million other here, but they don't have that one. I would like to see that one. It's just he's up there with a grin on his fucking shit eating grin. What do they call it? Shit eating grin? Yeah.
So
He goes like, yeah.
Catelyn, she grabs a steak knife, she goes and pulls the Frey girl out from under the table, and she basically pleads and begs with Walder, like, end this now, like, we will let us go and we will forget any of this happened. And like you could hear it, like she's so desperate, like just let it go. And you kind of think for a second, like maybe he will. I don't know. Like there's this, like, you're so shocked that this is happening that you're like, oh please, like anything to save these people, anything to save these people. And Walt, like, she's like, on my honor as a Tully, and on my honor as a Stark, we will let this go. We will forget this. Like, just let us go. And she's yelling over to Rob, get up, get out, like walk out, like get up and walk out. And he's just like, in a state of shock. He doesn't know what the heck is happening. It's just like, it's so like painful to watch this happening.
You would be, because this is again like the state of shock, totally understandable.
Up over there, Miss Frey girl.
Pardon?
Are you tearing up over there? I thought you were tearing up.
No.
All
But,
right.
so Catelyn says, like, if you don't he's like, well, why should I let him go free? Like, Walder is like, why should I let him go free? Like, why? And, she's like, well, if you don't, I will cut your wife's throat, and he's like, whatever, I'll find another one.
That's fucked up.
Like, that was so cold.
Yeah, that's kind of
liking him at this point too.
That was fucked up that he said that, though. I know, like, disregard. He doesn't even care, like, no regard towards his wife at all. He's like, yeah, whatever.
No, he'll find another, and then that's when Rob, he kind of looks over at Kat and was like, he says, "Mother," right? And then Bruce Bolton goes over to him and he says, "Oh, the Lannister sends their regards," and like stabs him right in the heart.
Line, though, that's a badass fucking line. Yeah, that's that honestly, like, that was badass. I gotta say, like, that's happening, but what a way to go out. Like, that's a good death. Like, if for an actor in something, like, that's pretty, like, it's iconic. Like, no one will ever forget that, no matter what. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was an awesome moment. The Lannister send their regards. So
and he drives a knife into he drives a knife into Rob's heart, and Catelyn, he falls down, and Catelyn is just like
a ridiculous wail here. Okay, there's like like a ridiculous wail.
But you know what? Like, hey, like I can't even imagine. I'm not a mom, but like I could not even imagine watching some, and I think that's why they call it like a mother's wail, like, because there is a sound that, like, I can only imagine that comes. It's so feral and so guttural that, like, you just watched your firstborn son just get murdered after begging for mercy and like trying to do the right thing anyways. And so she just slits the Walder Frey's wife's throat, like, I don't give a shit anymore. So she falls, and
what more does she have at that point, right?
Nothing. She's got nothing.
even like the slice itself, it's so like she's not even into it, like at that point, because she's like a shell of her, a former shell of herself. She's just like, yeah, like you said, like she's like lost all will to live. So she's just like, it's just kind of like she's just like, okay, well, I got the knife to her throat, so fuck it. Like I'll just
Yeah.
this because
You
she knows
know,
she's dead too. Like so she's like, fuck.
well, just when you think it's over, then this just when you think the scene's over, how much worse can it get? Frey walks up to her and slits her throat from like jugular, like just, and then she just starts pouring blood out, and
Yeah,
yeah,
huge knife.
just
Look at the size of that dagger. Yeah, it's crazy.
you know, so it's like it's not only like, I mean, you knew she was done too, but it was like you didn't at the same time. It was like, you know, because you knew his like Walder's issue was with Rob. It wasn't with Kat, right? So it's like they have Rob, so you think, okay, maybe they could have like saved Kat. Nope, that was done. And then the scene goes like black and it's silent. The credits start rolling in silence. And you're just sitting there like,
What the fuck just happened?
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what I said. Like, what the fuck just happened?
the no music was perfect. That cut to black, no music credits. Yeah, I think that's a very good choice. But have went back to the Winds of Castamere again, but they've already done that as an ending song on a previous episode. So I like how they kind of committed to just like, this was a shocking moment for you. We're not going to play you out now, right? Like, you know, I mean, something like, yeah, what a smart choice I felt like, but holy fuck, still crazy this episode.
Yeah.
Heroic in brackets. No more Starks or what the fuck? But like, I didn't think she was gonna give up as easy as that happened there at the end because she's still apparently
Bro,
blessed.
what's she gonna do? What do you mean give up easy?
She got kids, I know, but she would, at least not just stand there and just stare at Rob. Like, okay, you
What
gotta
else was she gonna do? Like, you also
keep kids
this
in
is
mind.
happening so quick, you're shocked. Like, when you're in shock, you're stuck.
They know the fucking world they're living in. Come on. They knew when they signed on for this game that this was gonna happen. They wanted too much money this next season, and then
The
they said, "All right, we'll just slit their throats at the end of this one."
worst part is that they caught them with their guard down, though. They were at a fucking wedding. The last thing they expected was what happened, and that's why they did it.
It
Right?
seemed too easy, right? No, didn't it seem like the wedding way? Everything went by so just like, okay,
Well,
They
nonchalant.
planned it that way.
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
jumping ahead, but they talk about this in the next episode, Jay. You'll see. They do mention all this shit, like, because now, like, the news starts.
Well, they got to talk about it, yeah.
Well, no, the news starts trickling out, but typically what we're saying about like the method of, again, the Lannisters send their regards. They say here at the end, so they have a hand in what's going on here. Like, you don't know how yet, but you'll find out in the next the finale of this season. So like yeah. So Christina, still a great episode for you. I know this is the one you picked. I mean, this is what, top 5, top 3 for you? Like, we're
Definitely top yeah, top 5. We'll say top 5. If not top 3. Like, it's probably in my top 3, but like I'll just say top 5 because I know there's a lot of episodes in this series that like are fantastic, but this is definitely in the top 5 for sure. And like I said, I've watched this series, like this is like I think my 6th time watching it, and I still get goosebumps. Still have hope that like the story changes. It's still like you'll never get over, you'll never forget this feeling, Jay, that you watch it for the first time. You'll never get over it. And watching it again, like later on, you'll still feel it.
yeah.
I don't know if I'd watch it a second time after this. Like it's, I that's why I kind of when I jot down the notes too, I kind of just put down the specifics because I know what kind of way it's going. It's just too much to write down if I want to enjoy the scene, right? And maybe my brain doesn't absorb it that way to remember. Like
Yeah,
I know which areas we're in. I just
yeah.
can't do filler sometimes, right?
Which is fine because you're not the one that's going to be directing us through any of these episodes because this is your first time experiencing the show. So
You're welcome.
I do enjoy hear what you have to say on it, right? Like, so it being your
Dude, it keeps shocking me, and I'm getting fucking upset because, dude, I was not expecting this at the end. I was not expecting this one bit,
I know.
not at all. And then when he stabbed her in the stomach, I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And Rob's gonna kick some ass now. Well, sure enough, he didn't. Pussy.
I'll Christina, great job guiding us.
Eon.
You did a great job for such
Thank
like, a huge task for this episode. Quite frankly, there's so much there was so much to talk about, but I kind of wanted to leave us on this note. I wanted to pick your brain for a moment, Christina.
Yeah.
How would the show have been different with Rob alive past this point? Would you ever thought about that? Like without spoiling, obviously, for Jay, I know it's hard to do that without kind of getting into it.
Yeah, but to be honest, I don't know if I've ever. No, it's okay. It's
No,
okay.
it's okay. Put it back on. Yeah.
Um, he's not. Anyways, no. I honestly, I never really thought about it because, like, and I don't remember what it was like the first time I watched
Mhm.
it. Like, I don't I'm sure we talked about it, like, I was watching it with Lewis and I was watching it with friends and, like, I'm sure we talked about it, like, what's gonna happen now, but I think the overall feeling was that the Starks were, like, not gonna be anything because it was like, how? There's
Right.
none like, what's gonna happen with them? They're also dispersed, they're also displaced, like, you
Yeah.
know?
And at this point, there's nobody else vying for the throne on their side. Like no one else has any like
No. They
the
don't seem to have any allies anymore, they don't seem to have any like, it just seems like it's the end of the Starks.
right. The closest at this point in time, which is funny, I guess, because of the direction that it goes, eventually, that's closest to the throne because she's literally still in King's Landing.
Yeah.
Right? Like she's the closest to any form of like, like being close to the throne in that sense, right? So it's kind of interesting in that sense. All the other ones have different aspersions, like past this point, like what things that they want to kind of accomplish and paths that they have to take in their own journeys, right? But like, so I just think this whole King of the North thing obviously dies here. Like in terms of like, I know it pops back up again later, but like this is it for now. Like at this
Yeah.
point, that
Yeah,
door
it's
closes, right?
yeah.
Like, although what's his name becomes Lord of the North, I think in the next episode, Bolton, I think, right? I think it becomes it,
Well, yeah, that's his reward.
right?
He becomes Warden of the North.
Warden of the North.
Yeah, for, like,
So,
his
so yeah, interesting. If he actually became King of the North, go ahead. I was just gonna say, Jay, if he actually became King of the North, I don't know. It's hard to say where it would go. Like, I just think it's like
You know where it would go?
it shifts focus entirely here, right? So
You know where it would go now that we've thought about it already? You know where it would go?
where
It would go into making another baby and not thinking straight. That's the problem. He's not old enough yet. Maybe
Well, okay,
this
so Jay, actually, because you don't know what's gonna happen, what do you think is gonna happen?
if he fought, hold on, if he fought, like if he had to fight
No,
this,
like, not
sorry,
not if Rob was alive. Like, now that you know that Rob is gone, like, what do you think happens?
what's
What is your prediction?
I think Arya is gonna get some fucking sort of revenge of some sort with maybe the Hound or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, obviously, it's gonna involve the Lannisters probably if she ever finds out. I don't know if those other guys, because you guys keep alluding to that storyline, is kind of weird. So I don't know how far to take the brand one and all that with the what do they call those orcs or wargs?
Yeah.
Him warging, yeah, like the act of warging, yeah.
I don't know how far that's gonna go, and um, I feel like this Frey guy, I feel like he's gonna be around a while, and he's gonna want to fucking he's gonna want to take over somehow. But he's got all those daughters for sale, right? Literally. So I mean,
Okay.
no, that's basically what they're using them for. He's using them for. Am I right or am I wrong? Like I know, there's all that other fun stuff with the ogres and all that crazy stuff, but I don't. I still think it's going to boil down to who's going to be the. I want to see what happens with the dragons too, right? And that part.
If Joffrey isn't on the throne eventually, who do you think would replace him at this point?
On the throne?
If he's not king, who do you think would be the next person? And who would end up with it? Do you feel like at this point?
You know what? If he's in it for the whole fucking series, I would hope that it's my little buddy, man. You know, yeah, I would really hope
Tyrion?
so. Yeah, only because he's gonna put his work into this fucking series. Like, I mean, he's actually put more work than any of these. It was nice to see that he had a day off, for fuck's sakes. You know, right? Like seriously, when you said, you threw me completely off. But I was more focused. I think that's what I was more focused on last time we talked. That he wasn't in the episode, and I was watching out. I'm like, let me see if I find him somewhere in the background.
In the background.
was it?
Yeah,
No.
and all of a sudden, people getting their throats slit, and I'm like, "What the fuck is going on here, man?"
Oh,
It's like
good. I'm
you're
glad I threw you off
the
the.
message at 2 in the morning, bro. You are so fucking lucky. I'm not even joking because it was this close, bro, and it was gonna be like voice
I'm
one.
so
I
I'm
didn't
so
want
glad to hear that it still has that reaction though, that it wasn't spoiled for you, Jay. Because you know how hard it was. Even like I know we alluded to this being a big episode, but yeah.
no more Starks, bro. Who's next in line? Like this is what I don't under. Like I don't know what's going on now. I'm totally lost.
No, there's
Like
still 4 if you count John the Bastard, right?
yes, but where are they going with it? Where?
Well, there is 4. There's Bran, there's Rickon, there's Sansa, and there's Arya. There's
Yeah.
4. So and with John, there's 5.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Where are they going with it? I don't know now. I had at least I had some
Well,
sort of a feeling with
that's
fucking Rob.
when you took off your headphones. That's what we said. No one else is vying for the throne right now out of all of them. Like no one. And I said
Well,
to
the only one I think that's vying for the throne out of everybody is what's her name? The Khaleesi's there. She's the only one that's really wanting to get back.
talking about
Yeah, we're talking
You're
about
talking about
Starks.
okay,
Stark.
yeah.
Now,
I don't even think any of them know that
no,
they're able to be the next in line.
now that he's not no longer going for King of the North, that's it. Like it ends with that. Like for in terms of Starks, like no one else. Like and now that Winterfell is like gone essentially, and no one is going there, right? Like so,
Yeah, but
it's
wouldn't like Braun or like wouldn't one of Bran or one of those guys be next in line because they're Starks, right?
Yeah, but like again, like Rob brought all of their bannermen to the fray, like to the
Oh,
twins. So it's like they don't even have
he's gonna have to
bannermen.
join forces with somebody, man. Maybe he's gonna have to join forces with the dragon. I don't know, man. I don't know where this
Well,
is going.
I
also
guess
John is a bastard, so he doesn't lay claim to a lot of things that they would.
Well, Theon, I mean, what happens? What's going on with Theon? They didn't see they like I didn't see him in this episode, so I don't know what he's gonna play if he's gonna help out and have a great joy to help the Starks, right? Who knows, bro?
Right,
Maybe
right.
he's gonna do that. Who I know he's getting tortured, but we don't know. Like I don't know what's happening with that story yet. I know sort of,
there's
kind of,
so much to come, so much
but
to come.
bro, this is only third season, bro, and there's only I can't even pronounce the name of the next episode. I
Mira,
would,
Mira,
huh?
Mira,
Nisa,
Lisa? Oh, okay.
Nisa.
It's the way that the grammar is. I think because I know how I'm not hooked on phonics. I know how to actually spell, so I can. I this kind of shit when it's spelled the wrong way, I can't pronounce it. I think maybe a little bit of our dyslexic watchers might be able to read it and pronounce it better than me.
So that being said, we should wrap her up just under 10
Yeah.
hours here. Christina, thank you once again for guiding us through this episode. And I think you will be returning and doing the same thing. I think for this last one, the finale of
Yes.
season 3
Yes.
as well, because these were the episodes you had picked originally for this. Go ahead, Jay.
Yes.
I told Lewis that we're gonna fire him. We're gonna get rid of him and bring Christina on full time now because she knows how to. No, it's like I said to him, this is the way I explained it, guys. It's like because Christina knows me, so she knows how to lay the jokes out like Nico does and whatever. But Nico's like in his head, it's like, oh man, I got to deal with 2 of these types now. What the fuck am I gonna do? How am I gonna get them to shut
I
up?
love having Christina on. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah,
We
I'll
love
be back. You can't get rid of me that easily.
no,
even
no,
if you have to pop in on Nico on your hubby show, just
it's
Oh,
steal it.
I do in the comments
there you go. It won't be the last time that
when
you.
I'm blowing up his phone because I'm pissed off at him. I'm kidding. Anyways,
This won't be the last
Friday night, no.
absolutely. So yeah, join us again, guys, next episode for the finale of season 3 of Game of Thrones. Lisa is the name of the episode 10, season 3. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Again, thank you, Christina, for
thank
doing
you.
all the heavy lifting this episode with the descriptions of the scenes here. Great stuff.
Oh, you're gonna have the highest fucking views on this one, I think, if they
I
think
hope
it's that
so.
what episode it is, man.
Miss
Fuck.
International, Miss Worldwide.
And once again, apologies. We forgot to mention, guys, if there was some audio leakage throughout the episode, it's Jay's fault.
I have some leakage issues, guys.
Yeah,
My sphincter.
we'll figure it out for the next one for you guys. So don't worry. I hope that
It's gonna keep Nico up all night, guys, and he's not tonight, but one of these nights is gonna keep him up all night, and it's okay. I'm on nights this week, so we'll figure it out.
yeah. All right. Later, guys.
Peace out, dudes.
Bye. See you next time.
Castamere song that they got shot up to.